The Come Hell or High Water concerts were organized in the fall of 2017 in response to the massive destruction of Hurricane Harvey in South Texas. The event featured over 20-plus local musicians at 4 different venues over 3 days, with 100% of the $9,700 raised going to those impacted. A passionate group of volunteers, musicians, and local business owners came together and produced a successful event. We are now committed to doing the same thing on an annual basis, with all proceeds being donated to disaster relief. We are a 501c3 and would love for you to join us as a musician, sponsor, or volunteer. Please visit us at hellorhighwaterconcerts.com.
This is the KMAX Sports Network, and this is what we do.
Looking left, throws into the end zone. Snap again, he hits the turf, and Delhar scoops up. Cameron Wilkins has it.
15, 10, 5, touchdown.
If you like the sound of that, then let us broadcast your team. Send an email to merle@kmaxsports.com or chuck@kmaxsports.com to find out how. Bringing your teams to you since 2003. It's what we do. We are KMAX Sports.
The views and opinions expressed on the Air with Mike Allen do not reflect the views and opinions expressed by any other show in the Radio Man Cave. This show is intended for mature audiences. Enjoy. All right, we are live. Man. Let me go ahead and turn the mics on here so everybody can talk.
There you go. Now you fixed it.
Oh, you weren't letting me talk up to that point.
Yeah.
That's probably a good idea.
I'm just so excited that people can actually see us now.
They're probably like, dude, that Mad Mike guy looks fucking disgusting.
He does.
Mad Mike.
And he's over here already dropping F-bombs. It's like
already. Not even 2 minutes into it.
I am allowed like 1 or like 10 a shit.
1.
Yeah, whatever. Fine.
Well, we have our special guest tonight. I met this gentleman when we were doing something called the 48-Hour Film Festival. And I'm going to let him talk a little more about that because this was my first year. I was a virgin.
This was my first year too.
Was it really?
Like a virgin.
Yeah.
So anyway, Chae Balisteri.
Yeah.
I said it right.
Chae
Balisteri.
Man.
When we met in the production meeting, in the writers meeting, he was introduced as a producer. No. He had more acting experience than anyone in the room.
Nice.
And he's amazing. So why don't you tell our listeners kind of some of the stuff that you've done?
I mean, I kind of like hearing you talk about me. Right? Honestly. I mean, first off, thank you. Like, the 48-Hour Film Festival was an absolute blast. That was something for anybody who doesn't know or doesn't know what context clues are. It's a film festival that takes place over the course of 48 hours. They give you a couple of items that you need to include in your script. You get together, you have your 2 genres to choose from. We had romance and period piece. Which who's going to do a period piece unless you got a giant? Yeah. Go ahead, Mike.
You could have done 70s.
Yeah, like
do over there.
like kind of.
Dude, that'd have been good.
Well, I was also thinking just like romance period. I'm like, I don't think I want to watch.
There was an actress in our group though that could have pulled period piece off.
Yes.
We could have just wrote a 1-person show, and that's Martina, because I'm in class with her. I mean, I study at Carol Hickey, and she is setting the standard because you just do a scene study. You've done scene study.
Absolutely.
And there, and you do the scene, and you get into the part. She gets into the part. They did a scene from Mary Queen of Scots, and she came in full regalia. The ruffles, the makeup.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Everything.
That's
to do her
cheating.
part.
Yeah, like just blowing everybody out.
I'm sitting out there in a jeans and t-shirt. I'm going to play some dude, and the part I was playing was some guy in Norway in like the late 1800s, and I'm in jeans and a t-shirt. I'm like, oh man, I got to step it up. So
dude, you suck.
The teacher's sitting there going like, I don't believe you. Yeah, no shit, you don't believe me.
Yeah.
If I had the full garb, you would believe me.
I mean, it would have been better if you were in sweatpants. That would have been like really cool.
Really uncomfortable,
or like
tight sweatpants.
Yeah, or like an Adidas tracksuit or something.
I prefer Adidas.
Yeah, Adidas.
I'm playing Father Flynn in Doubt in one of our scenes.
Really?
That's a tough one for me.
Do you get the little white collar thingy?
I've got the black shirt and the white collar and everything. Oh yeah, I've got to because Martina's in the class. She shows up. I mean, she shows up in costume.
I feel like I would instantly burst into flames if I put one of those on.
Yeah, but I mean, you've seen the movie.
No.
Doubt?
No.
It's about
Doubting?
the Catholic. Well, no, it's about the Catholic priesthood in like the 50s when it was just starting to, and one of the sisters was one of the spearheads of exposing the pedophilia and the child molesters.
Yeah, yeah.
So the whole movie is this: she has doubts about Father Flynn, but he never comes out. You never know in the movie. All you're given is the bits. It's brilliantly written.
Right.
So you never know throughout the whole movie whether or not he did it or not.
Is it one of those ones that leaves you hanging at the end, where you don't know? You have to decide for
Like
yourself
you
whether
make
he
the
was
decision.
a diddler
Yeah,
or not.
you make the decision.
That's hard.
Yeah.
You know what?
And I've read the whole play, and I'm going to tell you, from coming from a law enforcement background, yeah, I think he did it.
Yeah, that kind of sounds like he did it.
So to do homework, I've got to, put myself in that mindset, and that's hard for me to do. It
Hey.
really is hard for me to do. But it's a good
The
challenge. 'cause,
mindset of the diddler.
Yeah.
It's exactly.
side.
Yeah, that sounds awful.
Completely alien. I have no idea how to do that. But if Warner Brothers Studios comes down and says, "Hey, we need you to play a rapist,"
You can
and
do
we're
it.
going to give you,
A bunch of money.
this truckload of money. I mean, you're going to figure out a way. And some of the
It's
best
actually-
acting has been done portraying people who
Absolutely.
are just horrible people.
Absolutely, and I only accept payment in forms of truckloads.
Truckload.
Yeah, of course.
Not an actual denomination.
Yeah,
So
truckloads.
I had a show for ABC called Final Witness that I did back in, I think 2011 or 2012, and it was based off of the real life event of the Keys. He wrote a book, Terror by Night, and it was Charlie Wilkinson, the young man who was dating Erin Caffey, the daughter of the man who wrote the book. They had a relationship together. It was not the healthiest of relationships. Long story short, Charlie ends up killing the whole family.
Damn.
Goes into the house with one of his buddies. Like, I don't have friends like that. But he takes one of his buddies. They house with a sword, a gun. They stab and
Man,
kill.
That's right.
Man,
Yeah,
they
I'll say,
stabbed
like,
and
that's
killed.
a really bad friend.
Well, the whole family. So Mr. Caffey, he takes 4 or 5 bullet shots, one to the face, the chest, the back, the arm. I mean, this guy just takes it everywhere. And he crawls out of a burning house and manages to crawl 400 yards to his neighbor's house and survive the whole ordeal and managed to tell what had happened. But I played Charlie Wilkinson, and I had to meet Mr. Caffey, which is a really weird thing to be portraying the guy that ended this guy's family. You know what I mean?
You met the actual guy.
I met
Yeah.
the actual guy. It was a week-long shooting. It was for ABC, and I kid you not, I would go back to my hotel room, and I just sit in the shower, and I would just cry. I was just crying because I couldn't understand,
the mentality.
the mentality.
Yeah.
I had to
I mean,
get
it's-
into
it's
that.
hard.
It's insane.
Yeah, but as actors, what I'm finding is that that's our job.
That's kind of your
I
job.
mean, that's what we get paid to do.
Yeah.
And I think what I've finally come to grips with, and I'm separating myself from, is that when I get into a character like that, I'm doing the work to tell the story, but that's not me.
No.
And that goes back to when I was a cop, kind of. Because when people saw me in uniform, they didn't see me. They saw a cop.
They saw a
Yeah,
cop.
pretty much.
So that's
Yeah,
how
you
I've
donned that
that's how I've
uniform.
gotten past it. I still can't get to the point where I can imagine or even think about doing anything to a child. And you know what? I'm not going to go to that dark place just for a scene study. But I have been able to work around that guilt.
Yeah.
And so I can do the
There's
scene. But
there's definitely something to be said for the idea of method acting, right? Method acting is the idea of you get into character and you stay into character. Even if the scene's cut, you're in character.
Yeah.
And that can get really annoying for a lot of people, but it can help. The reason I brought that up is I'm sort of I guess I'm filling my own head here now. I'm sort of a nice looking young man. Like, I'm sort of unassuming. Although I do have sort of a resting asshole. Like, if I'm just sitting there, everybody's like, "What are you so mad about?" I'm not actually mad. I'm just thinking what I want to eat. But I remember going into an audition and I had to play a demon, which is
That kind of sucks.
Well, it's kind of cool, but it also is kind of like, what the hell does that entail?
Yeah.
Like, going to give me a tail and a pitchfork? Do I have to wear a leotard? Like, is it going to get weird real quick? Because I will, but I'm really self-conscious about my junk, like being pressed angrily up against a bunch of latex. There's just something about that makes me uncomfortable. But I went into the audition, and I remember, like, for an hour before I went to the audition, I was like, you know what? I'm really getting myself into the mindset of just this the darkest place I can get. And so I put on just, I don't want to list any names of bands because then people are like, oh, I listen to that band. I like them and they're not demonic. But I listened to a bunch of bad stuff. Stuff that seemed bad, you know, like Mark Killing and Death, like that kind of stuff. And then I kind of just sat in a dark corner with all the lights off. And I just sat there and I just thought of all the stuff that just made me angry. And then I went into the audition, and it was because I've never had this happen before. The director later told me, when you first walked into the audition room, we said no. In my head, no. And that's one of the things they don't tell you about casting directors. When you walk into the room, there's a good chance within the first, before you've even opened your mouth, they're like, no, this isn't what I'm looking for.
Yeah. And, you know, something I had to come to grips with is that it's not the best actor that gets the part, it's the right actor.
Right.
Yeah,
So you walk in and you leave your gift and you walk out. On to the next.
Hopefully this pisses off a people. But take the original Star Wars movies, for instance. I love those movies, but some of the actors in there, it was
Well, they were all new.
Sure.
And it was a budget. His big movie wasn't Star Wars.
Yeah.
The movie that he thought was going to put him over was American Graffiti,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
which had all the major stars in it, plus a lot of the stars that were in stars. But
Yeah.
Star Wars was like a throwaway project. That ended up being his big.
Like, yeah. Well,
Where's
between
my
that and
throwaway?
Indiana Jones.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Where's my Oscar I stumbled into?
Right. Oops, I made $1 billion.
There's some low-budget movie we just happened to walk around with a camera, and it's like,
Yeah,
Blair Witch
that'd be
Project.
pretty
I mean,
cool.
yeah,
Yeah. No, Blair Witch Project's a great example of just kind of like, or Napoleon Dynamite. That was the one.
Yes.
It was a really cheap movie to make, and it was like
Well, this is-
phenomenal and stupid, and it was amazing.
This is one of the things that I loved about the 48-hour film festival so much is because, you know, if you've got a big group of people and you've got money that you want to spend on this thing, which why would you? That would sort of defeat the whole of it. It's supposed to be sort of a run-and-gun guerrilla type patchwork production that you're putting forward. But, you know, one of the compliments that we got at the premiere was that one of the hostesses said, you know, yours was our favorite because it genuinely made me laugh. And it's like, that's cool.
Yeah, it's kind of the goal, yeah.
It is. It's like if you can make somebody laugh once or twice in a movie, it's like, dude, you've done your job, at least.
For the most part.
For the most part.
I mean, not according to your investors, you certainly haven't, but.
Yeah. And it was fun to see. What I enjoyed about it is how everybody fit
Yeah.
those elements into their films.
Yes.
And I thought we did the best job of that, personally.
I'm obviously biased. I think you and I are both
Yeah.
biased, but I thought that ours, at least in the context of like a story arc where there's something that, and I feel like ours had that where a lot of it's kind of like, you're in the middle of this thing, and who is everybody? There's aliens. The end.
Well, you know, the one that I liked the best, that I even liked better than ours.
Which one?
Was the ADHD.
I enjoyed that one.
That was well done.
I don't
And
know.
it was cool the way it was. You could tell it was kind of rushed at editing because we're all the films had that rushed editing.
Well, that's like the best part.
You know,
it makes it
the
raw.
sound was off on a bunch of them, and that one guy just had to get the drone shot in there. And that's kind of funny, but it was about this in this kid's head who had ADHD, what he was seeing, and then it would flash to what his mother was seeing, and it was really well done and very funny.
I still don't know. This might sound a little bad, but I still know that kid something that was a little mentally wrong with him, just because he's so his movements.
Got
There,
family. The guy who's that team, Peta. Him and I were in the So much fun.
Please.
Him and I. Oh, and we were in a movie, Ollie. Save Yourself.
Yeah.
He played the mayor, and I'm in that movie as the dad. That was my first. That's how I met Ollie.
That's so cool.
But that's one of his family members.
The kid was great.
Oh, so
like he
good.
was so good in it. I was like the second that the kid started moving around and he didn't even. I think I throughout the whole line like 2 little lines of yes or no or something like that. It was so quick but just the way he moved and conveyed the story that was going on, it was really entertaining. On the voting that we were able to do, obviously I chose ours, but I choose the ADHD one.
Did I choose that
ADD one? Yeah.
And the other one I chose was, and then later there's history, but I didn't know that, was the 2 private eyes.
Oh yeah.
That was just funny. I just thought that funny. I mean, it was.
I don't remember the other one that I chose, but I do remember watching all of the films, and this speaks to my arrogance, but I do remember watching it going, no, I can do way better.
Yeah.
And then the one that we did showed, and I was like, oh, I should shut that.
No. I'll tell you what. You carried our film, brother.
I doubt that.
You carried it.
Kristen, the waitress.
Yeah.
I
she
felt
was
like
fantastic.
she was awesome. Actually, everybody in
And
our
she
freaking
did-
short.
Wait, hold on. So has she met your friend Davis? Like,
No, I wouldn't do that to her. I wouldn't do that to her.
I mean, she seemed like a firecracker
She was
too.
going to go on
so.
to do good things with her life, sir.
ouch.
She was great.
And she was fantastic, and I remember having a conversation with her where she didn't know if she wanted to be an actress, but if she's listening right now, I'd say yeah. Definitely put the time and effort into it, because I think she's got the wherewithal, and she picked up right what we were doing, and it would fit seamlessly. And
Well, that's one of the biggest things is, as I lived out in Los Angeles for the past few years and worked out there in the television industry, and one of the things that is just abundantly clear is that, number one, you've got to be, oh man, that's exciting, isn't it? You've got
people
to,
knock, just walk in.
no, I think that was the kick drum.
Yeah, I think there's. I think they're out there like
Why
playing.
are people,
Come on in.
Yeah, I know. It's like just walk in the front door. Holy cow.
Yeah.
No, but the thing is that when you're working on a set, above all, you gotta be like cool. Like you have to be somebody that people can be around for 12 or 14 hours a day.
Yeah.
Because otherwise they don't want you there. On top of being somebody who is relatable and easy to get along with and goes with the flow, you also kind of got to know your stuff, and you got to be able to push it so many times.
Prepared.
Yeah, so many times I would see out in Los Angeles, we will be working on a production, and people are sitting there waiting for things to come to them, as if opportunities were just going to be like, excuse me, I've got a multi-million-dollar contract.
Yeah. That doesn't happen.
Not to us.
That doesn't. No, it doesn't. I tell you what, we're going to take. No, we still got 4 minutes.
I mean, we can take a break. There's women
got
wrestling
4
on
minutes.
television right now.
Quattro minutos.
So let me ask you this.
Yes.
I'm only 3 years into this. I'm still trying to get a demo together, because I've got to chase down the producers on all these movies I've done, who seem to disappear right after I do them. Is that common?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
I'm not alone.
No.
I'm not like,
No, and in fact, I mean, the thing is when you do a production, first off, make sure that you've got somebody, either a producer. A lot of times, the director, once it's done, they're hands off. They're done with it. It's really like a producer, somebody who works with the production company that's going to be editing this thing. You got to befriend them and just kind of keep on top of them in a very polite and professional way, but keep on top of them, because I'm fortunate. I managed to get a copy of everything that I've ever done, even student films, but it requires you to be just persistent to the point of almost annoyance.
That was my mistake. I didn't keep in touch with a lot of them. So
Yeah.
the first film I was ever a lead in, we were in contact, and the last 2 or 3 emails have come back unanswered, and their webpage is no longer functioning well. So I'm like, well, goddamn.
That sucks, dude.
Scour YouTube, man. Sometimes you can. Sometimes they upload them.
Yeah, sometimes it'll leak in.
Which, speaking of our 48-hour film festival, that's online too, right?
Yeah, it is.
And it looks
absolutely is.
awesome.
Well, there's links on the show page, and I
Good.
put links up.
Check it out.
On other stuff. You've seen it.
Yeah. I done seen it.
Done seen it.
Done seen it.
Done seen it.
Tell us how awesome it was. It was so awesome.
It was
wasn't
delicious. That's how I like to describe things. Yeah, no, using conventional language.
No,
is
it
not
was
really
fun.
my deal.
It was fun. It was absolutely fun. So, what are some other projects you've done? I know you've worked on some TV shows.
So recently, when I lived out, I would perform at LA Connection in Burbank, and it was a tremendous amount of fun. But I've recently gotten into stand-up as well. But out there, I did mostly production work, so it was mostly behind the camera. Sometimes I would do just regular PA work, just going and getting coffee, running around, setting up the crap, doing the basic bitch kind of work.
So for a new actor, would you suggest stuff like that just to get around the...
Yeah, absolutely. And the reason that I would is, when you're an actor and you come onto set, right, there's a whole bunch of stuff that's going on. It's this big ordeal, especially if it's a good-sized production. So you've got dozens of people running around. That can be a really intimidating thing. If you've had a little bit of work behind the camera and you recognize, oh, like these are PAs and that's what they do, and this is gaffers and that's what they do, and here's the director and here's the producers, and if you know kind of where all the pieces fit, it just helps you know your place, if that's the right way of saying it, But it helps you come onto the set comfortable because you know what to expect.
Got it.
Yeah.
All right. Stick around.
Delicious.
We're gonna.
Yeah, it's gonna be delicious.
Leland, you got bumped.
Nerd.
All right, we got something special here. We got a house band.
Ooh.
And I don't know how many other podcasts out there have a house band, but we do. And these guys are fantastic. And they were on the show actually a couple of weeks ago. They're going to be performing at the Mill in Andersonville, June 21st, 9 to 12 a.m. Duke Drive-In, July 6th, 6:30 to 8:30. The Tavern, July 10th, at 9 to 10 p.m. And the Angel and the Outlaw, Danielle and Amy, will be at the Tavern, July 30th, 9 p.m. Here they are. On your house band.
I'm saying we're just playing and running around. I'm just living and resisting the thought of settling down. It was late last night when I saw you. You were sitting there with somebody new, but I won't ask you too many questions, because tomorrow I'll be doing it too. It's not like I'm saying we're just playing and running around. I'm just living and resisting the thought of a settling down. It was late last night when I called you. You were laying down all by yourself. Oh, so don't you ask me any more questions, unless you want to spend it by yourself. Isn't that like I'm saying we're just playing and running around? I'm just living and resisting the thought of settling down. rolling in, just like I did that day in October. And I wanna wake up and then smile again, just like I did back then. Before I knew it was over. And I hope that it won't be long before that rain comes rolling on to wash away all my cloudy days. All my cloudy days. And I wanna walk outside again, just like we did when we were friends. Follow your dog as she'd roam where the wind chose to call her. And I wanna wake up at night, see your face, subtle reminders all over the place. Yes, I have to redecorate for the season over. And I hope that it won't be long before that sun comes shining on to light the way through my cloudy days. Oh, my cloudy days. When that sun comes rolling in, it goes through my skin to my soul, where I'm holding on close to all the memories that mean the most to any lover. And when I get past my bitterness, I'll hold on to your gentle kiss. 'Cause those are the moments that I'm going to miss more than any other. And I hope that it won't be long before that sun comes shining on to light the way through my cloudy days. Oh, you know it feels
Thank you for everybody listening and enjoying the live stream. I'm glad you're enjoying it.
I think I just got a mess with my camera. that thing that sort of, I don't know.
Did what?
Well,
You gotta get that nice.
You got your what?
I kind of bumped the camera, so I'm trying to like fix it. I don't. Yeah, no, I always break shit.
All right, we're back with Chae Balisteri.
Oh, man.
That's my second beer.
It's only the second one.
I'm drinking that crisp, refreshing water because
Crisp,
the hangover.
yeah, because yeah.
I feel like
You
crap.
only drink. I know, because you only drink on the weekends now. That's
yeah,
the rule.
exactly. And I drink on the wrong day on the weekend.
Yeah, you
What's
can't
the right
work on.
day?
Well, the wrong day is Sunday night.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and like I didn't eat all day. My friend's like, "Hey, dude, be cool, booze," and I was like, "Oh yeah, dude, totally. We'll hang out in a pool." Like, and I didn't eat it all, so I just drank a whole bunch, and I spent all of today sweating and being miserable, and almost threw up Taco Bell.
Yeah,
Nice.
that sounds terrible. I mean,
It was-
eating Taco Bell is bad enough, but having to like
Like, taste it a second time?
Again?
Yeah, no, I was not very excited about it, and I was
Not
like,
at all.
that's rough.
"Yeah,
So let's keep talking, man.
Let's do it.
All right. Now I
Indeed.
read the book.
More pea water.
I read Jenna Fisher's excellent book called An Actor's Life, and I don't know if you've ever read it before.
I haven't read it, but I know of
It what I liked about the book is it kind of validates everything I'm doing, because she's basically letting everybody know what you're doing is the same thing I did. So stop crying.
I'd say yeah, that's Pam."
Yeah, it's Pam.
Yeah, it's
off The
Pam.
Office.
Yeah.
So, and before she got that role, though, I mean, same thing we're doing. But you know what she had to do, which I don't have to do, and the actors before me, which I kind of feel cheated now, is she would get backstage magazine or paper and go through that magazine, take her headshot.
things like that are still hugely
Really?
beneficial. Absolutely. Because, I mean, think about this. If you're an agent or a casting director,
Yeah.
and you hit, post submission online, you're going to get a flood of crap, and it's going to be very easy to just kind of get rid of a lot of it. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm not saying that that's what they do. I'm saying that
Well,
with the amount that they're
well,
dealt,
then it would be a timing thing.
it is a timing
You
thing.
get like the first 25, and it's like, okay, I've seen enough. Out of this, I can pick the guy.
And
so.
the way that it works, a lot of people think that acting's a sprint and it's a marathon.
Yeah.
When you go to LA, like, okay, let's say you're in Austin and you're a big fish in a pretty small pond.
Yeah.
Because we've got a great scene, we've got a lot of talent here, but it's still, compared to LA, it's still small.
Big time.
So you go out there and you're a very, very small fish in a very, very big pond.
Yeah.
So the thing that gets people working isn't so much that that you're like, oh, that's the person that has the look that I'm going for. The thing that gets people work is the fact that they're on that casting director's mind. They know the cast. This kind of goes back to why it's not a bad idea for actors to work on sets as well, because when you work on sets, you befriend the casting director. Guess who you want to befriend? The casting director. I mean, I got just by speaking roles, but you know what? That's $150 to $200 a day right there.
Yeah.
That helps to survive in LA, and it doesn't look great on a resume, because when you're doing your acting resume, unfortunately, the extra work, the featured stuff, eventually that has to come off.
Yeah.
Because any agent or manager will say, unless it's like lead or co-star, I don't want it on there.
Well, on my resume, I only have my speaking parts.
Yeah, and that's
Yeah.
how it should be. But if you don't have speaking parts, it's okay.
Yeah.
Just get some. Even if they're student films, like that helps a lot.
Now, how important is it to get a good agent?
In today's world, you would do better if you had 100,000 followers on Instagram.
all right, you got a new goal now. Go and
right.
do that."
I mean, look,
Guess I'm going to have to break out the old bikini.
I'm serious.
That's
Just
right.
today,
Yes.
just today on Actors Access, I got an acting notification, and it said something to the extent of, we're looking for influencers, right? That's what they're called. They're
Yeah.
influencers, so that they can influence all of their followers to pay them money.
Yeah.
Which is the idea, right?
Yeah.
So they don't have to. So we're looking for influencers with at least 10,000 followers. It's like, Well, come on, like that means that I've done most of the work. You don't have an agent anymore at that point. You just come with your giant following, and that'll get you a role. To me, that kind of it's an irritating thing because I don't do social media
they're
at
looking
all.
they're looking to go cheap with the marketing is what
Yeah,
they're
exactly.
looking to do. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, look, I get it, right? It makes sense from a marketing
it does, it
perspective. It's
does.
like, look, if we cast this fool, he's got 100,000 other fools that will follow him.
Yeah.
You know, and they'll go see the movie that we make that's terrible, but we'll still get at least
Yeah,
100,000
I'd say that's a lot of free publicity for absolutely nothing.
Absolutely.
But the thing that does irritate the fire out of me, look, if you're an actor and you need to know what in perpetuity means. If somebody says to you, hey, we will give you $5,000 and you give us the rights to this in perpetuity, that means forever. That means forever and always. And if you've got anything that comes up in the future that conflicts with that thing, you can't do it. So make sure that if you get, if somebody buys something out, you better make darn sure that it's worth the money. A lot of people are like, oh, well, we'll give you $500 to buy it out for life. Look, man.
Got to get that mailbox money.
Yeah. Look, I did one union commercial. It was an Academy Sports and Outdoors commercial with Danica Patrick.
Oh, I saw
she
that
was
one.
super cool. She was really cool. I made a really dirty joke with her, and she was like, so I was like, you're cool. You drive at 200 miles an hour and you can appreciate a dick joke. I love it.
It's pretty sweet. Hell yeah.
But that commercial, for like the next 2 years, every 3 months or so, cha-ching in the mail. It started like
that's pretty
$1,000
sweet.
and then it got smaller.
Yeah,
but
as they use it less.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But still, it's money for something you
good
did way
mailbox
back
money.
when.
Yeah, that'd be pretty rad.
I got a check in the mail out of the blue on some work that I had done. It felt pretty good.
Yeah?
Yeah, it was $900.
I once got
Because they
a.
used my likeness on a billboard.
Really? Did you see the billboard?
In Mexico.
Really? Do you have a picture of it?
I do not.
Come on.
I do not have a picture of it anymore.
How many? Did they mail you some pesos?
No.
Because that would have been awesome.
I get a check. I get a check
Just
from
a
my.
bunch of coins.
I get a
Like,
check from my agent.
Coin purse.
I get a check from my agent, and I'm like, well, I haven't done anything in a while. What the hell is this? And I didn't recognize the production company. But what I had done is kind of a travel commercial for the United States Travel Commission, and they go around to each state and they do videos of that state, what you can do in that state, and then they advertise outside the United States to travel to the United States for vacation.
Yeah.
And this is Alabama. I was in Texas. Of course, I played a barbecue cook. So in one picture, I was holding a plate with all the meat that we destroyed that day because it was sitting on the grill for 8 hours and it wasn't cooked properly. So it was like pieces of tire, but it looked good.
Yeah.
They dressed it up. It looked good.
It damn well better
we
look
ruined
good.
that brisket. It was horrible. I stuck a fork in it. I was going to try to save it, and I'm like, no, not going to be saved.
That's upsetting.
It kind of is. So I had this plate, and of course, then they photoshopped some stuff in it, and so the billboard in Mexico City said underneath it, "Come to Texas." And then we have to build a wall. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Did it say that on the billboard?
it
Like,
said,
come to Texas, ... we're going to build the wall.
Yeah.
No,
so
it just
hurry.
said come to Texas.
Just come to Texas.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so and then all the stuff with the wall and the border and everything.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of taking responsibility
Come
for
to
it.
Texas and have a big dude throw meat at your face.
Yeah, there you
That's,
go.
Who doesn't
Come
want
eat
that?
big barbecue.
Everybody wants that.
Yeah, no,
not?
that's
Did you see
my
the
favorite
thing
like
where they
eating
had
barbecue.
a Kickstarter and they wanted to gather money and they gathered millions of dollars to build the wall.
To build a wall.
And then they built it in a place that they weren't allowed to build it.
Yeah.
And so they had to now keep the gate permanently open. Yeah. And the
That
guy
kinda
who
sucks.
Yeah, and the guy who ran, the dude bought a freaking yacht or something. He's like, yeah, we're gonna build the wall.
Yeah.
With the $8 million and the 20 is administrative fees.
So stupid.
But I know it's all stupid. I mean, look.
And you know, I have a totally different angle on it. I don't get into the political part of it about illegals and they're illegal and the money and they're getting welfare, because they're not. I mean, do your research. I'm not going to do the research for you anymore.
You have to prove it to me. You have to prove it to me.
My whole thing is that the environment in one of our largest and most beautiful national parks, Big Bend National Park.
Oh, it's getting trashed.
It's getting trashed by this wall where 2% of the people that get into this country illegally come through the border, southern border.
Yeah,
what's even fly or come in by boat? I mean, come on.
Yeah, well, one of the worst ones is when I got back from my stint when I was working down in South Texas, out by Carrizo Springs and Cotulla and down over there. It was crazy because we were out there and we were working on these pipelines. And, there'd be, random people, it would just, pop up out of nowhere. And they're like, yo, if anybody comes and talks to you, do not talk to them. Just, keep your head down. Because it's not only the issues of, illegal immigrants. A lot of them also carry guns and drugs and money. And I'm like, I don't want to be by these people, okay? My job was to literally come out here and survey and get the F out.
Dude, when I was in the Air Force and out on Vandenberg, which is on the west coast, it's in California, Central California. Vandenberg's got 40 miles of private, federally owned land that's oceanfront. Yeah. We would regularly see pallets of drugs, everything from weed and cocaine, boxes of coke, pallets of this crap come up on shore, because what they do is they scoot a boat up there, they dump it on there, and eventually somebody come pick it up a truck, and it's well, how's that wall going to stop that? We just got to build the wall around
in
all
the
waters.
Yeah, the Coke submarines.
Yeah, man, it's crazy.
Mike, go get Mr. Leland and have him come in here.
I'm gonna have to go and fetch him.
Down. Go fetch him and swap out with him.
Oh, this ought to be fun.
Get him in.
Yeah, let me go and yell at him.
Leland Freeman is
welcome to Thunderdome.
Thunderdome, probably the smartest guy in the room. He's going to come talk to us about some political stuff.
Yeah,
ooh, I'm excited.
The stuff I don't like to talk about.
I love talking about political stuff.
Yeah, have fun.
Well, man, I hope we get to work on something again, because that was more fun than a little bit.
Heck, I'm just looking on here, and it looks like Daniel, he was our director for the 48-Hour Film Festival. He just sent a message to everybody, and I think he's wanting to talk about some collaboration, because I thought we had a really good group of people as well. And
we had a great group.
Yeah, one of the things that I actually started doing with a friend is I get together with him once a week. We talk about our stand-up skits, and then we go out and we find an open mic night. If I can do the same thing with film, be happy.
Well, keep me in that loop.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Wednesday I'll be at Kick Butt Coffee.
Yeah,
and
we might have
Mr.
to join
Stamps.
you. We might have to join you.
Yeah, come on down.
Yeah. Because we got to
Kick
do at
Butt
least one a
Coffee, you
week.
got to get early, and then they rank you by who you are.
Yeah.
So they're going to put all the really good folks up first, and then
I thought they drew from the hat. They don't draw from the hat?
that's Mr. Stamps.
Oh,
that's why I like Mr. Tramps. Mr. Tramps I like because they draw from a hat.
Gotcha.
So you can go in. Have a seat, man.
Oh, man. This guy's better dressed than all of us.
I know. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome into the Man Cave, Freeman in name only, Leland Freeman, and he's got some things to talk about. We're going to sit back and listen. Leland, the floor, sir, is yours.
Pleasure, Mike Allen, and thank you for having me back on. So I'm sure you've heard the big news. Well, if you're not outside of if you've been living outside of Texas, the big news is the whole Iranian thing. Everyone in Texas is too distracted by Whataburger getting sold to a Chicago investment bank. But anyway, long story short, with what's going on with Iran is there's been some accusations levied that they bombed not one but two oil tankers. Now, footage has been released by I believe it was the Department of Defense, which shows a bunch of guys in a boat, and it's been released on Axios and NBC News. And I'm looking at this going like, okay, it's a bunch of guys in a boat. How do we know they're from Iran? What's the angle that's going on here? Is it that Iran is trying to force the United States to go back with the that horrible nuclear deal that was done by our previous president, where we literally gave pallets and pallets full of cash to the Iranian government, which they just turned around and bought more uranium to make weapons. But I think the bigger ulterior motive is other OPEC nations are trying to raise the price of oil. A lot of these Middle Eastern countries, that is their entire economy is oil revenue, and with the price of oil dropping, that's one way of artificially jacking up the price of oil, is causing an artificial shortage by taking out a few of these tankers. Now, you don't hear too much of this even on the internet, is because of the fear of media censorship and being deplatformed. Now, the question, it's the whole debate going back and forth. What are these social media platforms? Are they private companies? Are they, or they should be regulated as utilities? I think they should be regulated as utilities because they basically create a de facto monopoly, more or less. You can't just create a new social media or video streaming platform and expect people to show up and watch your content, find your content. Even pushing it on, and the way everyone promotes the programming is through Facebook, through Twitter. I mean, nobody uses. Does anyone use MySpace anymore? Does anyone use these alternative? Was it Gab, Minds? Does anyone use those platforms?
I had a MySpace.
AOL. Does anyone use Vimeo? Of course they don't. And I mean, it's the reason why you moved your program to Facebook. Now the interesting situation is, it seems to be, and the reason why I say it should be regulated like a utility is because of unbalanced bias. You have conservative voices such as Steven Crowder. They're either Crowder's case, being demonetized because he's able to have a huge following, and he's actually able to make a living doing his show through monetization of his videos. And they're kind of fast and loose with the reasoning. In the past, they used to go to YouTubers or people that stream their content secondarily on YouTube, and they state, well, you have alternative forms of income. You're either going and soliciting your audience to subscribe to additional content on Patreon, or with Crowder's case, subscribe to what is known as the Mug Club, which I believe is Blaze subscriptions, or with other YouTubers such as Tyler Hoover having direct sponsors. I think Tyler Hoover has a watch company that directly sponsors his videos. So YouTube turns around and says, well, you're making money off of our platform, and so we won't give you advertising revenue since you're already making money off of it. The concern is, with Crowder's case, they didn't give a reason. They didn't state, okay, you have...
Well, I'll tell you why. Because he attacked somebody for his sexuality and harassed him pretty hard. And that's why he got demonetized.
But he didn't get deplatformed.
I didn't get deplatformed, but that's like
So
the first step.
And that actually...
That's look, if you're gonna go after somebody's ideology or have a debate with somebody and disagree with somebody, we all welcome that. But if you're just going to target somebody and then relentlessly go after them to make them quit or do something else and dox them and do all the stuff that Crowder did, that's the first step, is they demonetize and then they deplatform.
One of the things that drives me crazy about this whole thing is that the idea of controlling speech on YouTube is presented as a means by which to ensure that there's no fake news, that there's no lies, there's no things like that. But when you watch things like the mainstream, I don't mean to be one of those guys parroting this crap, but when you watch certain mainstream media, you can literally see stuff where they present either something that is completely skewed in a certain direction or is an outright lie, and they don't get deplatformed ever.
And they usually get all their talking points on a lot of these stories from either AP or Reuters. And so if you go to all these different mainstream outlets, where it's NBC, CNN, even Fox, they repeat the same Reuters press releases. Now, the interesting thing that kind of actually rolls into the next topic, and that is the latest Taylor Swift song. Now, hear me out on this.
Which I've not heard yet. Have you heard it?
Well, her new song...
It was trending on Reddit, but I didn't pay any attention.
Well, the interesting thing is her song has been used as an anthem for gay rights, and also targeted her previous audience. For example, in the first verse, I'm just reading the lyrics off, say it in the street, that's a knockout, but if you say it in a tweet, that's a cop-out. So once again, it kind of alienates a certain part of her previous audience, which was a country, more conservative. But the interesting thing is that the criticism has not necessarily been from conservative publications. I counted 5 different publications: Vice, Vox, Slate, Pitchfork, and Esquire. None of which I would really consider conservative. Maybe Vice when it was first started with Gavin McInnes, but not so much, and most of them are usually leaning to the left. Vice is probably the most balanced out of the 5 of them. And those articles came out over the weekend. It was only after Daily Mail published an article on it where the title was Taylor Swift hit with backlash with her new Pride-themed anthem. The other titles were specifically with Vice, Taylor Swift LBG anthem, You Need to Calm Down is Pretty Clueless. That was the title from Vice. From Vox, basically, their title was, and let me just bring this up real quick. It's exhausting, is the way they termed it. The basic argument all of those publications have said is that the message felt forced, it felt divisive. The music video I watched, which dropped today, it was basically...
I haven't even seen it.
Well, there's a part towards the end where it shows a bunch of people that are supposed to be, I guess, in the Westboro Baptist Church, and some of the people are missing teeth. And the way I look at it is it seems to be just stereotyping her previous audience. And I think it's going to reflect pretty badly in her record sales. I mean, she's still going to make more money than most musicians, but compared to her previous sales, not so much. I think a lot of this has to do with Republic Records not having as good of a PR team, keeping her in check as
We're going to keep that train of thought when we come back. Right now, we're going to listen to a good band, my house band, The Usual D. And when we come back, more Leland Freeman, Chae Balisteri. We're live on the air. I'm Mike Allen.
Oh, I used to think that was special. Someone you surely wanna be. And I used to think that everybody ended up where they should be. But I've come to find everyone is dreaming. We just pursue them differently. Oh, I used to think that I was special. Someone you surely wanna be. And I used to think that everybody would never understand me. But I've come to find that we share the same feelings. We just pursue them differently. And just so you know, I think you are special in ways that I fail to see. Well, I used to think that I was so special. Someone you surely wanna be. And I used to think that everybody had the same opportunity. But I've come to find but she's terrified of falling in love. And you know it's all because it could be a lonely world. Oh, for a good time, girl. While the world is moving along, you're stuck singing that same old song, that same old. How can you change what you betray if they won't hear what you say? The deeper the mistakes, the harder it is to wash it all away. How can you change what you betray if they won't hear what you say? The deeper the mistakes, harder it is. And oh, whoa, oh, a good time, girl. Oh, whoa, oh, a good time, girl. Oh, oh, a good time, girl. Oh, oh, a good time, girl. Oh, good time, girl. There can be a lonely world. Oh, for a good time, girl.
All right, the usual D, they'll be at the Mill at Anderson Mill, June 21st, 9 p.m. to 12 a.m. New Buda Drive-In, right before the movie. That'll be July 6th, 6:30 to 8:30. The Tavern, July 10th, 9 to 10 p.m. And Amy and Danielle, the Angel and the Outlaw, will be at the Tavern, July 30th, 9 to 10 p.m. All right. We got Leland Freeman in the man cave.
Pleasure to be with you, Mike.
Chae's hanging around.
I'm listening to the world fall apart and Taylor Swift's song, how it's devastated me. I'm so devastated.
Now we have a member of the team who's not with us today. He's out east, and he's out east with someone very special to him, and he's got some big news. Danger Davis, are you on the line?
Yes, I am. Tiny
Danger.
Savage and I are in the building.
Wow. Okay, so everybody's on pins and needles here. Everybody is waiting with bated breath.
She said yes.
She said yes.
Congratulations.
She's
Awesome.
going to clean the dishes for us. Is that what? That happened?
No, she has. I got down on one knee and asked her to spend the rest of my life with me, and she said yes.
And she said
Oh,
yes
with
to the
the
dress.
drone.
Oh no.
What's
Oh,
that?
my God.
And the ring.
Hold on, I gotta pour a little out for homie. Then
So-
Danger Davis asked his girlfriend to marry him, and she said yes.
I feel like
That's what we're listening to right now.
I feel like once you get married, though, your name can no longer be Danger Davis. It's got to be like
Domesticated Davis.
Domesticated Davis. That's Shackled Davis.
Yeah.
Bound Davis.
Yeah.
Ball and chain Davis.
Yes.
But you will always.
Well,
you will always be
stay
in our
tuned.
hearts, Tiny
Stay
Sam.
tuned because I'm putting I put a video together. I used my we were out on the beach and I used my drone to record it all, and I just finished rendering the video, and I'm going to put it up on Facebook for y'all to watch here in a little bit.
Okay, well, make sure you post it up on the group page. For those of you who are listening now and would like to be part of the On the Air with Mike Allen group, so you get all the inside stuff. We have some great debates. Everybody's allowed in, as long as you're not abusive and stupid. If you have good debate, you're welcome to come in there. And
Wait, you didn't tell me about the stupid part.
Okay, well maybe
The weird thing is he's staring at me.
just not abusive. I mean, if you have that much beef with somebody, be a man and go face them face to face. Seriously.
Take your beef to them.
You know what I'm saying? That's the biggest sign of a coward is using fake accounts and going after somebody online. That is the biggest sign of a coward. Biggest coward in the world does that.
It's called
Face somebody.
It's called a sock puppet.
Yeah, you ain't got no beef. It's like fake beef, right?
Yeah, it's like fake beef. It's like
fake
vegan beef.
Yeah, what kind of beef is that? Get out of here with your not beef.
It's like the Wizard of Oz, where you have the big wizard and then it's just the little guy behind the curtain.
Exactly.
Yeah, and the beef flying around with wings, grabbing up the scarecrow. It's freaking ridiculous.
So we'll let Mad Mike know. He's hungover still.
Where's the beef?
Well, congratulations, my man.
Thank you, sir.
We'll have to tip one when you get back.
That we
Are you guys
will.
watching the live stream?
We're going to be. What's up?
Are you guys watching the live stream?
Yeah, I have the live stream. I've been watching the live stream for the most part while I've been putting this video together. So I've been keeping up with y'all. Oh, look, I'm on. There I am, my little me with my little Whataburger.
Is that picture we sent? Is that the one you're using?
That's the picture I sent. I had a friend of mine Photoshop that because I thought it was perfect.
Oh my God, that's so funny. All right.
But yeah, I'll be in studio next Monday.
Good deal. Congratulations.
Thanks, buddy. I'll talk to y'all later.
All right, see you later.
Bye.
You realize that once he gets married, he's got to ask permission from his wife to come on the show.
No, actually, she's been accepted into the clan.
Oh, really? That's cool.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, she's
good.
She's been to a few drunken charades, shenanigans,
Escapades,
shenanigans,
those kinds of
whatever.
things. Yeah.
She's been to a few.
So I wanted to just we talked about this a little bit off the air, but something that's interesting about what you were talking about earlier with the Iran thing.
With the tankers.
With the tankers. The tankers allegedly being attacked. The footage that we were showed by U.S. Central Command was literally a boat with people up to another boat, and they were like, well, these could be planting mines. But the driver of the boat, which was a Japanese Japanese citizen who owned and operated that particular boat, said that the Iranian Royal Guard was the ones that saved them. So,
and they really wouldn't have a reason to blow up the tanker.
Not with the Japanese Prime Minister visiting Iran at the time the attack happens.
I personally think it's for two reasons. One, to artificially raise the price of sweet crude on the global markets. There is
sweet crude,
and the other thing is to potentially launch World War III in the Middle East, which would just be it would ruin your best friend's marriage.
Every time we attack somebody over there, everybody cries about it's going to be World War III. Let me tell you something right now, and this is something that you can verify with Google, and you can look it up. Russia is not our enemy.
Okay, go.
Russia is actually shuttling astronauts to the International Space Station.
That is true.
We have very good economic ties with Russia. Russia needs us more than we need Russia. Same with China. Now, that all aside, before we get, I used to be in the military. I'm a military historian. I read stuff.
No.
We have right now 11 attack aircraft carriers. Nuclear, huge aircraft. 11.
Aren't we supposed to build another 9?
Russia has 1.
That doesn't really work.
China has 2, which were 2 that we sold them.
That's
Which were
hilarious.
our old stuff.
So we know all the vulnerabilities of our old stuff.
So, China needs us more than we need them.
Yeah, who's going to buy all the iPhones they're building?
Relax.
So let's go back. Let's
relax.
Let's go a little
We don't-
conspiratorial, right?
Okay, let's do it.
So, everybody remember the petrodollar? Remember that?
Yeah.
The petrodollar.
Aren't we still on the petrodollar?
Well, sure, but nobody talks about it anymore. And that's the interesting thing. You know, people talk about World War III as if that were some, big eventful thing that was going to kick off, and then here's World War III. You know, we've been in Afghanistan for 20 years now. Libya is a failed
18.
state.
Yeah, 18 is the longest
18.
war. Yeah.
Yeah, we got people who can vote now who've never known the United States to not be at war.
And when I joined the Army, we were literally not at war with anyone.
Really?
Yeah.
What year was that?
1985.
Yeah.
Oh, that was Reagan.
And then 91, we had our war, and we thought, yay, we're really badass. And we are. The United States military, if we decide to go in somewhere and do it right, back with logistics, we are the best trained and have the best equipment in the world. We took the third largest army in the world, and in less than 3 days, knocked them down to the 15th largest army in the world, and most of them gave up.
Yep.
And my unit lost 1 guy.
Oh,
we were in the thick of the fighting.
You know, if you pay attention to military statistics nowadays, we lose more military members to suicide than we do to actual combat.
Suicide, or was it accidents?
Yeah,
Just training
friendly
accidents?
fire.
Yeah, it's training accidents.
Yeah, things like
they get
that.
rolled over by a tank, or they're standing behind the breach.
Don't get me wrong, it's not necessarily saying that, if you go into the military and you become part of that and you get shipped overseas, that it's it's by any means a safe endeavor. It's
No,
not.
it's not, no.
But your chances of killing yourself are much higher than you being killed, which is kind of a sad truth. Oh my God. Do you have West Nile? What's up, man?
I don't know,
Come on.
probably.
Get out of here. Jeez.
I thought it's Ebola. That's what the people that's supposedly sneaking into San Antonio.
Like a big snot came out of his head, wrapped around his neck. It was
I'm
gross.
patient 0. That's it.
I guess we don't have to worry about the Iranians. We'll just worry about We'll just worry about Mike's West Nile virus.
Oh, your chemical warfare. All right, so what else in the
More
world
like biological, but
what else in the world is going on that would piss everybody off?
well, apparently here in Texas, Whataburger getting sold to a Chicago-based.
Okay.
I didn't know about this. Tell me this.
All right, look, folks.
Moment of truth.
It didn't get sold to somebody who's based in Chicago. It got sold to a company who started out in Chicago and now has offices in Houston. The family still owns a controlling share of Whataburger, but they want to expand and share the Texas goodness all around the United States, which I believe
It's just like
we as
In-N-Out Burger.
Texans have a moral and a biblical obligation to spread a double meat, double cheese, bacon cheeseburger
Something-
with avocado on Texas toast to those poor souls up there in North Dakota, because God dang it, they're up there shoveling the snow all the time. They got nothing to go in there, You can't start up the grill.
Well, they
they
should expand to
they should get myself a burger.
They should expand to Kentucky and open up one right across the street from Jim Cornette's house, where he goes, double meat, double cheese, double bacon, motherfucker.
They need to go on down.
As Bruce Pritchard would always say in his podcast.
No, they just need to go. I know this is your favorite. Just go on down to an In-N-Out Burger and order a Flying Dutchman, meat, and get the grilled.
You know what? We
cheese
should make a treaty with these Chicago people. They could have our Whataburgers up in Illinois if we can get their White Castles down here in Texas.
Why is this a big deal?
Mad Mike.
I mean, no, really. Why do people give two shits about where?
Have you ever been to a Whataburger?
Yeah, I've been to plenty of Whataburgers.
I have the Whataburger rewards program on my phone.
That's creepy.
Here's what
I'm
happened.
just kidding.
Here's what happened.
It's terrible.
No.
They're like, I know what you're gonna want.
What happened was it hit social media without the whole. Again, the public making a decision based on emotion, not on facts and reason.
No.
It hit. I know. It's like, when does that ever happen? It hit the internet that it was sold to somebody out of Chicago,
Some investment bank
that
also owns Banana Bread.
It knows nothing about hamburgers.
But it's
nothing.
But it's not based out of Chicago. It started in Chicago. It's actually the one that did the deal is based out of Houston, so it's still a Texas company.
Them damn Yankees.
But it's got a Chicago roots, and that's what they played off the emotions of the people who run it. And they're not trying to change Whataburger. They're not trying to take Whataburger. They want to expand it nationwide, and the family that owns it, the granddaughter of the guy that owns it, didn't have. I mean, just doing what they're doing, they're not going to get out of Texas, Oklahoma, and they've got I think one in Florida.
They need to bring back the Chop House Cheddar Burger.
How do you people know so much about this shit?
Because we eat at Whataburger all the damn time.
Freaking Whataburger, dude. Have you never been to a Whataburger?
I've been to Whataburger. But, like, it's not like I'm going to go to Whataburger and read the Whataburger Times and see what's been going on with the
son.
Whataburger franchise.
Just how you like it.
You have got a lot to learn, son.
I guess so.
And they're open 24
You're
hours.
going to have to hang out.
Yeah? All right. I mean, I
It's either Whataburger or Denny's at 3 a.m. in the morning.
Is there like
It's
a
either- in
baptism
Austin, it's
by
either
Whataburger barbecue sauce?
Absolutely. No, what you do is you get the barbecue stripped sandwich, and instead of the barbecue sauce, the honey butter.
So I did, before I came here,
You should try the mushroom and Swiss.
I did
good.
eat from Filet a la Chick.
Chick-fil-A?
Yeah.
Ah, Jesus chicken.
Yeah,
Mazel tov.
Jesus chicken. Yeah, oh, I love that. Jesus chicken. And the Chick-fil-A sauce, and that's good. And
not
I
bad.
ate a bunch
It's
of
not
that.
bad.
Yeah.
Hey, unlike Cane's, they
You know-
don't
you know
actually
what-
charge for the sauce.
Chick-fil-A, you know what Chick-fil-A does the best?
Chicken.
Frickin' lemonade.
Oh,
Their
yes.
lemonade is amazing.
Huh.
Oh, it's so good.
Just not on Sundays.
So good.
Just
Yeah,
not on
and I'm always
Sundays.
hungry for Chick-fil-A on Sunday. They're not open
That
on
pissed a
Sundays.
lot of people off, too. A lot of people were mad about the whole Chick-fil-A.
Well, they have a reason for that. It gives their employees a set day off that they know they're going to have every week to spend with their
Oh, I
family.
thought you meant that people have a reason to be pissed off.
No.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's on Sunday.
No,
and-
the guys. I can't remember what nomination it is, but they don't work on Sundays. They don't. That's the day for the
Yeah,
Lord.
in fact,
that's when they go to church.
now
and-
this
yeah.
this will go to show you that I have some Chick-fil-A franchise knowledge. I know that if you want to own a Chick-fil-A and you don't fall into their categories, I don't think they can be as stringent as you have to follow our religious practices, but I know they do have
Yeah,
some
well-
religious lines from which you have to draw within.
a lot of to be a Chick-fil-A franchise, and if you've ever been into Chick-fil-A, the story I like to tell is if you see 40 cars at Chick-fil-A and 2 at Whataburger, you go to the Chick-fil-A because you get out of there faster.
You will.
And everybody in
Man,
there,
they got that
Absolutely.
thing just
and
nailed.
and everybody's happy. The customer service is fantastic. No one argues, and that's all based on kind of their philosophy that they use. And all their employees are paid better than any other fast food. They start out at like a 13.
Yeah.
McDonald's, they start out minimum wage. So, and they do a lot of stuff like that. But if you're a blood drinking atheist that listens to speed metal, you're not gonna have the customer service skills, I don't think, to.
Welcome to Chick-fil-A. How can Satan serve you?
I don't think Satan eating a Chick-fil-A.
Would you like the blood of
I
virgins?
think Satan would. I think he'd eat a
What
Chick-fil-A.
sauce do you want? Blood of virgins?
Yeah. Little children.
But you don't have to be a Christian to own a Chick-fil-A. But
Right,
what they're
no, I don't
saying
think you
is
do.
that you have to follow. You cannot be open on Sunday. You can't be
Yes.
an atheist and open it on Sunday.
Right.
But homosexuals work there. Everybody works there. That
How do you know
wants to.
homosexuals work at Chick-fil-A? Have
I
you ever
know-
seen a homosexual
Absolutely.
at
I know 2
Chick-fil-A?
of them
How do you
from Out of
know?
high school.
Isn't that just profiling?
No, I know they're gay. I just know them personally.
And
I
they
know
don't
they're
care
gay.
either.
And they don't
They
care.
don't?
No.
Somebody
As
should
a
write a
matter of
letter.
fact-
They should care.
As a matter of fact, a story that doesn't get out much is when Chick-fil-A was being that last thing with the marriage thing, where they
Is that related to
Well, they were-
SB 1978, where they donated to some Christian charities?
Yeah, they were.
Where they were actually being discriminated against by the San Antonio city government, and they were evicted, or the contract was renewed with the
something
airports.
Totally different.
No, they were putting
Callis
money.
Jones, slow down.
They were putting money towards a
No, what
lobbying,
happened
right?
was, here in Texas, they were getting God dang it. Just throw me off with all your stuff, man.
Oh man, how could you
Demonstrators.
do that? Oh, okay.
So the demonstrators were out trying to demonstrating against Chick-fil-A for their stance on marriage, on gay marriage.
Right.
And it was hot. And of course, the organizers of this demonstration weren't, too keen on logistics.
Right.
So one of the managers in the restaurant walked out and said, are you guys doing okay? And they had people that were hot. It was out in the sun. They went out and they took umbrellas. Seriously, and then they took big tubs of water out to them.
I love that.
Did they give out their lemonade too?
And they gave out chicken sandwiches
none of
to
that.
everybody. Yeah, the lemonade. Yeah, they took that. No, seriously, and they took chicken sandwiches.
No,
out
I
there
think
for
that's
free.
beautiful.
They didn't charge anyone. They said, look, you don't have to eat them if you want, but you guys look hungry. Here you go.
And this
Here's your
actually
water.
ties back into the segment in the first segment with Taylor Swift's song, which is basically divisive versus Chick-fil-A is actually trying to be inclusive, and trying to help these people. It's like, okay, we understand your opinion, but you guys are exhausting yourself. Here, have some chicken, have some water. Don't kill yourselves protesting us, which is your First Amendment right to do so.
Yeah.
Well,
how about plan better and bring some Camelbacks with ice water in it?
That's the thing that drives me nuts. That absolutely everything is set out to be divisive. Even the things that are trying to make an attempt to unify people, it's like, well, it's only unifying those people.
Yeah.
It's absolutely everything is viewed from a lens of us versus them, and good guys and bad guys, and black versus white, and it's this dichotomy that we're continually faced with. And I don't know how people aren't just exhausted from this. Like, how are people just not like, okay, I'm done? Like, people are really hooked.
Well,
into
there
this.
is
They love it.
Well, it's fatigue in general involved with. I mean, if you look at there isn't any creativity. It's basically the same thing droning on and on again, which goes just goes beyond just this political divisiveness. If you look at entertainment, there really isn't anything that's new and fresh outside of independent content creators.
Well, I know that
on the internet, if you look at the movies, it's all remakes or sequels.
Well, let's thank Disney for that, because if you look at the history of Disney Corporation and the way that they influence copyright and trademark,
And they're buying everything up.
and they buy everything up, that single corporate. There's a documentary. I can't remember the name of it right now, but it deals with copyright law, trademark law, and how the Disney Corporation and Mickey Mouse has spent the past however many decades continuously legislating for
Extended copyright.
extended copyright, longer periods. It's like, look, Walt Disney, that dude's dead and gone, and that money behemoth thing still.
And the
churning,
the question is, Walt actually agree with this?
I don't care if he would. He's dead. It's like at some point people need to be like, okay, look, you have to put these into the common sphere and let people draw from them. If you look at Brazil. Brazil doesn't follow a lot of the U.S. copyright laws and trademark laws like a lot of countries, but you can go down there and see music that is relatively new music. I mean, like 90s and early 2000s, and they're taking and mixing and chopping and turning that stuff into something that's totally new. And here in this country, you are not allowed to do that and turn a profit, period.
Nope.
You cannot. They will come down on you as if you were...
Especially since
at a gay pride
well,
rally.
especially since that vault of all the master recordings of these big artists, where people use those versions of those masters, create remixes and whatnot, burned it down over the weekend.
Oh, I didn't know about that. That's a shame.
It was a lot of. It was with Tom Petty. It was Ray Charles. It was what, Nirvana, Nine Inch Nails.
There was a
lot. Not the Beatles, but pretty much anything that was recorded in what Hollywood over the past 30, 40 years.
Wow.
All the vault burned down.
Well, see, that to me, that goes to emphasize the importance on distribution. If you get these things in more people's hands, more people not only can do more things with them, but you help preserve it for the long haul. I'm not saying that, cut a master and then release the master files to everybody, but, maybe after 40 years, maybe do just that. Radiohead, I love Radiohead because they got their little hack that just happened, and somebody got a hold of their master tapes. And right now, if you go onto Bandcamp, you can pay like $22 and download their raw master files that's totally unedited. Just their stuff for like hours and hours and hours of them jamming. And that's stuff that people will listen to and love. Throwing it at him.
I think we actually have a great interlude.
You get some headphones.
And I think that actually works as a great interlude to your house band.
I think it does. I think it does. Play some Radiohead. No, I'm kidding.
These guys are better than Radiohead.
I think so.
Yeah, we're breaking.
Oh man, we're gonna do it.
Breaking it down.
Oh my God, there it is.
Oh my God. Yeah.
In a world with live music on a podcast.
There's
on the air with Mike Allen.
He needs another beer.
All right. The usual D are getting warmed up, man, and they're getting ready to go. I ran into these gals 2 weeks ago when we buried my beard.
We buried it at sea.
Buried it at sea. Had a Viking funeral.
Did you light it on fire?
Yeah, we lighted the shot. Oh, you didn't see that video? I didn't video.
And this would be a great way of promoting the video on, what is it, Media Palace?
Media Palace. It's on Media Palace. Of course,
You didn't launch an arrow, did you?
No.
Okay.
It was Roman candles.
Roman candles.
Even that's fine. That'll work.
So here they are again. If you'd like to see them live, they'll be at the Mill at Anderson Mills June 21st, 9 p.m. to 12. New Buda Drive-In July 6th, 6:30 to 8:30, right before the movies play. The Tavern July 10th, 9 to 10 p.m. And 8 for the Outlaw. That's Danielle and Katie will be at the Tavern. 30th, 9 to 10. Here they are, my house band.
Used to do nothing but praise me, and my father never said anything. still guess. The things we've shared is a need to dream, and a common desire to turn to memories. The fear of failure made it easy not to try. Leaves you open to pretend you could overlive another life. But instead, you shaped your fate with the dull side of the knife. Even though you've learned to love your life, there's still sometimes all because fear of failure made it easy not to try. Leaves you open to pretend you could overlive another life. Lived another life.
The usual D. You'll hear them one more time before we go. We're going to have Danielle come in here. Thank you, Leland. We'll see you next week. Have some more good stuff for us to talk about. Because now we're going to talk about sports. Yeah. You know, I got her as a rescue. I met a gal on Facebook. This is back when I was newly minted and divorced. There she is.
Oh man.
Oh,
Yeah, you guys sound great.
thank you.
Absolutely
Yeah.
fantastic.
We're having some fun.
Yeah.
Good.
Is it kind of cool in there? Is it hot in there? Or?
Oh, it feels good. I like to play warm.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay.
my body's an instrument as a vocalist, so I want the whole
We
thing to
crank
be
that
warm.
AC up if we need to.
I'm sure my drummer Rick. I'm sure he would say he's hot.
Yeah.
He's working way harder than I am back there.
Well, good stuff. Well, we put this together. This is our first time streaming. It sounded pretty good. We still got that little buzz, but I think we're going to fix that
Yep,
with more cabling next time. And
Absolutely.
but it sounds great.
Awesome.
Sounds fantastic.
Excellent. So did you have fun at our gig the other night?
You know, you guys, it was fantastic. This whole week, well, ever since I met with Eric at the Beard funeral, which you guys played at.
That's right.
He's only out
That's
later.
right.
You know, and he said, let's stream it. Let's do it. And I've been always planning on streaming it, but I don't have the money. And he had the systems to do it and the platform, and so here we are.
Yeah.
And when I was sitting in the tavern listening to you guys play, I'm like, oh my God, I cannot believe this is the band. You know.
They're great.
Oh,
They
they're
are.
fantastic.
Thank you.
Absolutely fantastic.
And that night at the tavern was particularly special. You know, it was the venue was fantastic. It was a nice, intimate venue. I mean, people were a little too close at times. I think we know which guy we're talking about.
Yeah. Well, he was getting
there's
into it,
there's
though.
always a drunk guy that like won't stop touching you.
You're really
Yeah.
pretty.
You know, yes,
You're
I heard
really
a lot
pretty.
of that. Special, you're so special. That was great though. But we had a really great turnout. A lot of people that have been with us for years, and a lot of people who'd never heard us.
Yeah.
And so we really had just a great time. I mean, everyone felt like that night was pretty special.
It was. Your violinist is pretty cute too.
You know, she's one of a kind. She's definitely one of a kind. I'm lucky to have her.
Well, good stuff, man. So, album? When album?
Yeah, I feel like that's like the unicorn. We're always talking about that album we're gonna put out. And so
You guys got great content.
Yeah, it's hard to like settle on a group of songs. That's the first problem. You know, which stuff do we do first, and then funding is the second part. So let's book some gigs, everybody, and we'll get some money and put out an album.
Absolutely. We're going to put links up on my page.
Awesome.
Links to your page for people
Excellent.
that want to book you for. What kind of things will you get? Bar mitzvahs, weddings?
Yeah, you know, we're real flexible. We're mostly an all-original band, so I think weddings, for the most part, they're wanting, you know, a cover band that's going to play all the hits and all that kind of thing. But, you know, we can adapt to a bar scene. We can electrify up and play some loud rock. And, you know, in the 40 originals we've got some heavy stuff, so we can do that. We've also done some...
Say 40 originals?
Yeah.
40.
40.
That's a lot of songs.
It's a lot of songs.
Wow.
You know, it's been a really productive period of time.
So that's an LP.
That's a couple, I think.
Yeah, that's a
You
couple.
know, I could put a couple out, you know.
Holy cow.
But we can also do smaller, intimate restaurants. You know, we were playing at this cafe in Wimberley, right on the square, a little bit last summer, and our drummer would get a little trap kit out, and we'd play real soft, and, you know, while people are eating. And I love those gigs. Those tables would turn every about 30, 40 minutes. So
Yeah.
we're always getting a new crowd. So we can do anything from small, intimate venues to, you know, larger rockin' venues, coffee shops. This is James, my wonderful bass player. I'm so lucky to have him.
He's awesome.
You guys are awesome. I enjoy it.
Thank you very
Yeah,
much.
no, we appreciate you.
And you know, taking the show to another level. I'm
Awesome.
going to tell you right now. We were talking during the break, where I've just been kind of cruising along.
Sure.
I did this for me and all my friends to talk sports and get drunk and we had some crazy shows, nutso shows. I hear a rumor that I believe it happened, but I wasn't there actually because I passed out at the end of a show. So they have pictures of me sitting in this chair just like knocked out and just let it go. So I mean the show was like 3.5 hours long because like half an hour of it. But I think we had up to 15 people in this room at one time. All during just a drunken fest, just passing around a bottle and. But now we needed to take it to another level, and I'm so glad I met you guys, and I hope this is something that you guys want to do every week.
Yeah, we're definitely excited about it. You know, the full band may be something we keep for special occasions as a bigger setup and all that.
Oh,
but
sure, yeah.
Amy and I will definitely be here every week, whether we're doing the Angel and the Outlaw as our duo, or, you know, we'll bring the full band, you know, when everyone's available.
Well, like we were talking, we'll get them set up so it's just more
plug and play.
permanent. Yeah. So when you show it, you don't have to drag all your stuff.
You know, I think as musicians,
especially as a fellow drummer,
right?
You know, me and
That's
Rick,
sort of your rite of passage is dragging the kick drum down a flight of stairs.
Exactly.
Dragging the amps and trying to not die.
No, see what happens is after the show, right, after everybody's been playing and the guitar's been doing this, but you're back there getting the cardio workout.
Right.
You know, you're done, right?
Yeah.
The lead singer's off talking to a chick.
Guaranteed. So is the lead guitarist.
The lead guitarist is off talking to a chick.
Yep.
The bass has got to get home to his family. So he's, oh man, I got to go.
No,
you know,
the bass came out from behind the amp that they were hiding behind. That's what the bass
but he's
player
got
is.
to get home to his wife and kid. He's going.
Right.
Then the keyboardist, you know, he's kind of strange anyway. Nobody's helping the drummer pack up his crap.
Right.
And by the
Never.
time you're done, you're looking around with all your stuff packed up, and it's like, okay, where's everybody at?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're gone.
Yeah,
They're gone.
So I'm right there with Rick. I said, do you need help? And his Pavlovian response was, no, I'm good.
Yeah,
oh,
right.
Dude, you're not
They're
good.
using
Let me give you a hand.
You know, I think what my favorite memes I ever saw was, like the life of a musician and a couple of slides, what my parents think I do, and it's just like drugs everywhere, and it's what my girlfriend thinks I do, and it's you in bed with a whole bunch of ladies, and then, what I think I do, and you're on a huge stage with everybody, and what I really do is carry shit across the stage. That's pretty much it, that's reality.
I was drummer in a band for a while, and it was true, man. It's just as true as you could. The lead singer's gone. He found a girl. The guitarist, we had to find him before the show because he was backstage
already with the girl.
Right. He found somebody.
Yeah, they're lined up for him.
Yeah, and then our bass player, we just open the bass kit, and he's there in the bass kit.
Taking a nap.
Yeah,
ready
he's
to go.
hiding.
And the keyboardists,
They're always interesting.
Get that piano tune too, so
Yeah,
that's going to be part
That's
of
a classic piano.
it. It is.
That's the antique.
And it's tuned.
This
Yeah.
whole place that you've got's really cool. It's just, it's a dwelling set up for just creative
Yeah, it's a very comfortable
arts. Yeah.
Well, see, if I was married, this would be the crafts room.
environment. Oh, sure. Well, it's the man crafts.
This is the man cave. Now.
Yeah. It would all be relegated to this.
With my multiple screens, which you guys can't see because you're looking at camera, and I'm not even used to. He's been looking. He's the actor. He's looking at his camera, playing to the. I have not looked at my camera one time. And because I'm not used to the camera being there,
Sure.
so
Well, see, you've also got the TV back here, and every now and then there's something interesting on the TV, and so it looks like I'm looking just off the camera, and people are like, "Wow, he's really engaged."
Something on that
so
wall
good. He's
is
got
just
such
amazing.
he's got so
Totally
presence.
engaged with that girl fighting that other girl, and both of them are in bikinis. Not right now. That was earlier.
Okay, I
It was
missed it.
earlier.
I missed
Yeah.
Monday Night Raw.
Yeah.
I usually have Monday when it's not football season. It's Monday Night Raw's playing in the back
Aha,
Yeah.
in the man cave. So,
excellent.
so
You know
big
who-
sports fan.
Yes, big sports
Oh
fan.
man.
So
I'm wearing my Cubby
our
necklace right now. I don't know if you can
our
see
baseball fantasy league is a long and arduous season.
I tried one time to do fantasy baseball.
can't do it.
It's too much of a commitment.
Can't do it. Chuck Licata, who's probably watching and listening right now, he'll come in here. He's our resident expert,
Aha.
and he is one of the owners of KMAX Sports. I do play-by-play. I do
Yeah.
play-by-play for Valley basketball, and I produced a bunch of other stuff. But he is the man when it comes to fantasy sports. He won our football fantasy,
Aha.
so we want somebody to come unseat
Yes.
that guy because he still won't take my barbecue plate. So, but anyway, he's the guy. He knows, stats down who to move here, and I'm doing the baseball thing, right? And if I mess with my lineup, I get totally tore up. If I leave it alone and forget about it, I'll win.
Right.
So that's what I've been doing. I've just been ignoring it.
No,
And
I'm
like, there's
I don't even
money,
know who I
and there's
have.
like act
yes.
big, and that's the thing that blows my mind. Not only is there big money, but like it's totally allowed. Like it's totally not gambling.
Right.
It's not gambling.
It's like math money.
It's
you
math
know?
money.
That's what we'll call it, math
We're
money.
It's based off of statistical
right.
information.
Yeah, so I mean,
And now they have advertisements there. If you lost in FanDuel or DraftKings, you could be awarded a settlement. And I always put my comment in there. Well, how to avoid that is fucking play.
Yeah.
If you put your money in,
but that's the
and
same-
if you put your chips down, you can't cry lose.
right.
Yeah,
right.
but that's the same thing with the lottery, right? On the back of the ticket of the lottery, it's like your chances of winning 1 in 17 trillion.
right.
And people are like, nope, it's gonna be May, and I'm gonna get it, and I know what I'm gonna do.
buy the half of the trailer from my friend, and I'm gonna
All
have
my
it
millions.
all myself.
Yeah, I'll just give some of it to charity just to appease God.
Everybody asks me, what would you do if you won the pot and won like 86 million? So what's the first thing you do? And so I'm not telling anybody because you'd never see me again.
That's right.
Fair.
Yeah, if you win the lottery, you claim it in secret. You don't tell anybody.
If you win over a certain amount, part of the agreement of accepting the prize is they have to use you for advertisement.
Really?
So I'll be like, yeah, I won. And
Could
then
you not-
You'll come to this house and it'll be empty. and radar will be gone and the van will be gone. And I'll notify my children in about 2 weeks.
Could you not use a
where I'm at.
pseudonym? No?
No.
Really?
No.
Have to use your real name.
Yep. Because they use you for advertising.
Of course they do. Look, this one won. You can be like him. You fucking idiot. See how I censored myself?
Yeah, you did.
I
You
did.
It was great. You're
All right, boom, right there. We didn't use an F-bomb. That was number
Excellent.
3, I think.
3. I think I dropped
Yeah.
one just a little while ago.
Son of a bitch.
I know.
It's always going to happen.
Always that guy.
So what else is going on in sports?
Well, I think.
the Blues won.
Yeah.
St. Louis Blues.
Yes,
Yeah.
they sure did. They should. What did I
Congratulations to
hear
them.
recently? What's going on in sports? Canada's winning basketball championships and hockey championships are in the Midwest. I mean,
Yeah.
what happened?
I have no idea. Well, the
No.
Stanley Cup has not been to Canada in a very long time. I think the Calgary Flames were the last Canadian NHL team to have the Stanley Cup, which is named after Lord Stanley from Canada.
I didn't know that. That's cool.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge guy, but I will say that I really like hockey. But I'm the same level of fan as the NASCAR guy who just likes them to crash. I just like it when they smash the shit out of each other.
Yeah, when they get to fight.
You're there for the
Yeah,
fight,
when
yeah.
they get to
When
fight,
they
they're
get to
like,
fighting.
yeah, they knocking teeth out, and you see blood flying. It's like, yeah, I'll watch for 2 more minutes,
Right.
and then when they break it up, I'm going to something else.
Absolutely. I don't know what it is of hockey and soccer for me. I don't know enough about the sports that it just looks like a lot of running around or skating around.
Yeah.
You know, I know there's a lot of rules and it makes it interesting, but I just I don't
Eric's
know.
brother, Edgar, actually founded a developmental professional soccer team that I've been privileged to kind of be a part of as their stadium announcer.
Wow,
Which
awesome.
there's not a whole lot of stadium announcing in soccer.
Yeah.
But
You do get to yell goal.
I do. At least twice a game.
At least
I get
twice.
To do that.
What's your longest,
Yeah,
holding
how long?
goal?
Yeah,
Oh, man, I don't know.
2 minutes.
No, it's not that long.
Come on.
Come on, I think
Those
we
are
need to
rookie
push. You need to try
numbers.
harder.
Goal rampage.
Well, that was like
No,
5
have you heard the
seconds.
Mexican
Oh
announcers?
yeah, he goes nuts.
Oh my God, that's what you gotta
Yeah,
do.
30 second
But see, that's
minimum.
radio.
Oh, okay.
That's TV. I'm
Well.
not. I'm just a stadium guy. So anyway,
I guess that's if they tune in. You hear the oh.
somebody scored.
Yeah.
But I've had to kind of learn the game so I know
What to announce?
what's going on
Right.
as far as time and penalties and stuff like that. And soccer's fascinating.
Yeah.
When you figure it out, when you figure out the plays and the movements and whether and they actually call the players and the plays setting chess pieces and the corner kicks and where they're going. I mean, it's really cool to watch.
Yeah.
So that and it's only 90 minutes,
Right.
maybe,
Yeah, sure.
unless they have a little extra time. But that's it. That's all it is. It's not like football where it's like, oh yeah, it's 60 minutes, but yeah, 3 hours
Yeah,
later we're
at
still
least.
playing.
Right.
When are we getting our stadium here in Austin?
It will be 2021, Eric. 2021, and
Yeah.
they're building it up by the Domain.
I live in the Domain.
So yeah, it's going to be up there somewhere.
That sounds like a terrible bad idea.
No, it's
No,
the actually place picked has good infrastructure. It's surrounded
Really?
by good roads, and it's going to have good parking. Yeah.
Because I live in the Domain right now, and
Almost.
it sucks.
All good.
we're
Like
over
traffic.
again, aren't we?
No, you're good.
Oh,
This
we got
whole show was so quick.
yeah. What
It
are we
did.
doing?
Time just flew.
It flew.
We do 2 hour mark. Is that what we go
Well,
to?
2 hours, but I might if we get enough content, we stretch it to 3 because we
Well,
still. Mad Mike has a gun section that he likes to talk. He talks about firearms.
Really?
And
Exciting.
firearm safety and,
Yeah.
and
Access. I mean,
gun
that's
talk. Yeah.
Dude, we could get into, if you want, we could get into like lucid dreaming and consciousness, and we can conspiracies, and we could do philosophy.
Well, I do.
Come on.
I have a ghost hunter that we used to
Get
do.
the shit
we
out. Are
Actually,
you serious?
We actually used to do ghost investigation. Wow. Do you know the old sanitarium
in
in Taylor? The big 2-story building. It was real scary. Sat there for years empty.
really
We got into that.
what?
I know. Matter of fact, I still have the key around here somewhere, and he gave us the key to a 100-year-old padlock. And one night, the air crew was me, Danger Davis, a gal by the name of Danny Blaze, who used to be on the show. I think Mad Mike was with us. And we all went in there, and of course, we got to go at night.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Go at night. So at night we set up motion sensors, set up heat sensors, we
Right.
set up laser sensors, set them up all over the place. We set up listening stuff, and we did an investigation.
How cool.
Come on, did you come up with anything?
I felt when you run into a spirit, and I totally believe in spirits, by the way. What it feels like is a cold space
Yeah.
of air,
Right.
like wet air conditioning. You
Oh,
know what
wow.
I'm talking about?
Sure.
So like when the air conditioning uses dry air, it's like got that wet
Yeah.
air
Condensation.
and you'll feel it.
Yeah.
And it just
Yeah.
kind of feels like it goes through you, and it's not a physical feeling, but you know when you feel anxious,
Right.
like right before you step on stage.
Yeah.
On a live theater, you got the, it's like, and then once you get out there, everything okay?
Yeah.
It's that feeling.
Well, you know,
Just
it's
for a second, and then it's gone.
You know, it's
Right.
you've got neurons in your gut, and so when people say don't ignore your gut feeling, that's because that's your second brain, and you don't want to ignore that because there's neurons that thing's thinking on its own. So real quick, just
So
to,
many Tinder dates.
yeah,
could have
just
gone
to
different if I just-
just to touch this real quick, one of the things that's fascinating is if you think of the human range that we can perceive as far as light and sound and textures, we can only perceive within a certain
Sure.
spectrum.
Right.
And there's so much more to that. So as far as the idea of there being higher dimensions and other things out there, I mean, things that are around us at all times that we can't perceive because we don't have the senses to perceive them.
Right.
So yeah, it's one of those things that the idea of energy or spirits or something like that, like people say, well, I do or I don't believe in it. Well, it's there's stuff out there, and belief is not, a contingent requirement. So you don't have to have belief for it to be real.
Yeah. So we'll be doing that in the fall. hopefully.
That'll be fun.
Oh man, that sounds
Now
like
that we
a
have
lot of fun.
my mayor, who may or may not want to come back. I don't know.
Just don't get a poltergeist. Those things attach to you, and then they come and they make your life
no,
hell.
none of that, no.
Yeah, it's annoying.
Let's play us on the way out here.
I think they started tearing down.
Did they what?
Yeah.
Well, then the Angel and the Outlaw will have to play us out
Maybe.
here.
If they didn't unplug all the cords. Nope, I don't even have a mic.
That's
So I
okay.
think
I'll
that's
sing.
the end of that.
Let's see.
Well, we got to play out.
You don't have an exit song?
I don't.
You don't? All right,
Well, I
let me,
do, but I don't think YouTube will let us use it.
Let me go see what I can do real
Patch
quick.
together, Rick. Let me know when you're ready. Well, this is fun. You're welcome to come back anytime, by the way.
I
We do
have
this
to. I'll
every
have
Monday
to.
night. We're going to actually have food segments. It's going
I'd love to come back and play at some point.
Sure.
Honestly,
Absolutely.
like I could bring my guitar. I've
Absolutely.
got some music as well that.
took the guitars in the car, packed up.
Oh man.
Oh, my God.
It's all gone. All the stuff's
One
gone.
more. One more.
Oh no.
Oh, my God.
Well,
Ah.
ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we're sorry, but the band has
The band
not
just
left the
bailed
building,
on me.
but they might as well have.
Holy cow. Have everybody stick around, though, because I'm going to have a debrief before we...
Okay, cool.
A debrief. Everybody's going to take their
Debrief.
briefs off.
So what's the rule? 7 seconds, right? 7 seconds on music?
7 seconds.
Anything over 7 seconds? God dang it.
Oh man.
These guys.
So do we need to blow a couple of minutes here? We can do.
No, actually, we're right here at the
Oh
end.
man. I gotta say, this was a lot of fun.
I started doing this on Hutto FM with a friend of mine.
Yeah.
It was the Montez and Allen show. And it just kind of kept going. And then I picked it up again as a gaming client. And
Yeah.
Orange Radio. Yeah. This guy wanted to do radio for the gaming client, so we'd listen to music while we played games. And I was like, well, can I do a radio show and break in at night? And they're like, yeah, go ahead. And that just kind of evolved. I left him, went out on my own, and then we just ended up here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, I'd love this. I mean, I'd love to come back on sometime because, like I said,
absolutely.
we
You're
can get
welcome
into.
anytime.
I'm one of those guys that I read a lot of, like you were saying, you
Yeah.
read as well, and I read a lot of stuff that people have no interest in reading because it's boring, it's dry, it's scientific, and nobody has time for that, and I understand. I'm sort of the opposite. I look at like Taylor Swift, and they're like, "Oh, Taylor Swift's song caused a bunch of controversy," and I'm like, I I don't care.
Hold on just a minute.
Go for it.
Amy, grab your violin.
Oh man.
We're going to improvise here.
So you gotta have me on, and we can talk about, like I was talking earlier, we could talk about psychology and philosophy and all these things.
And the more, and when we start doing the other stuff, the acting stuff, I'm going to tell
Yeah,
the
and we need to-
producers and stuff, they need to come on and we need to talk about that stuff. The thing I was telling you about, though, 7 Days of Skits, Ollie did it last year. He said, I don't know if I'm going to do it this year. I'm pushing for it.
I'd be happy
Because
to.
it was a really fun week.
Yeah.
And it's like the 48-hour film festival, but it gives people the opportunity. I got to work the camera. I got to hold the boom. I got to work sound. I got to write a script.
It's awesome.
And then everybody that shows up does something, and it's more of a creative environment. And you do it for 7 days, and at the end of the 7 days, they edit everything everybody's done, and then they post it. And it's just little shorts, little 2-3-minute shorts.
And I have to give a quick shout out to Daniel, our director on
Daniel's
48 Hour Film Festival, because Daniel, he let me come on as the DP, and he really gave me creative free reign. Like the guy just,
fantastic.
I always make sure to check in with him. Hey, is this cool? Do you want this? Do we need to change stuff? But the guy just let me go. And it's one of those things that anytime you can work on a small set like that, that's where that creative free reign really, when you work on a big set, I'll say this really quick, there's what's called above the line and below the line. If you're above the line, that's writers, directors, actors, producers, things like that. You can have creative input on the set. If you're below the line, which is everybody else, guess what? Shut up and do your job. That's it. Shut up and do your job.
Hold the boom mic.
That's it.
And don't hold it in camera.
Yeah.
Get a little ditty to play us out.
Oh, diddy me.
Yep, go for it. All right. Well, thank you for joining our very first live broadcast, live streaming broadcast. Big shout out to the house band, The Usual D. They'll be back here every week, or as Danielle said, either be the Angel and the Outlaw. You're listening to Amy right now. Play us out. Big thanks to Eric Palacios for getting us online and streaming. And running point man over there. He had a very busy night and appreciate that. Mad Mike coming in. And Freeman, who will be back next week. And my special guest, Chae Balisteri. Balisteri, got it. Sure, absolutely.
If you want to check me out, I've got a website called Coherent Chaos, COHERENT, I do voiceover work on Fiverr. I do a little bit of everything, so check me out on there. I'll try to get a post up. Really, that way it shows that I've got some recent activity on there, but I don't do social media. So go to cochaos.com and you can see some really inappropriate things.
All right, good stuff. I'll be back next week. I'm Mike Allen. This is Video Man Cave, and you have been on the air. Thank you for joining us.